In other news tonight, the wife of a St. Petersburg police officer held a prayer vigil today on the steps of St. Pete's City Hall, and she invited 5 pastors to pray with her. 2 of those pastors, Ricky Houston and C.L. Warren, work for churches that are just blocks from where the 2 officers were killed. Sergeant Thomas Batinger and Officer Jeffrey Yaslowitz were shot 2 weeks ago. The pastors called for community unity, love, and forgiveness.
As a community, both North and South St. Pete, we are united, and it's not just about us coming together to support the officers, but we want to show support to all of the families involved that have lost someone.
Hayward says it could have been her husband who was killed that day. He's a sergeant on the Street Crimes Task Force. Well, we've seen flowers, candlelight vigils, and a huge outpouring of support for Sergeant Batinger and Officer Yaslowitz. Now some children are using their voices to pay tribute to the fallen men. Our Allison Morrow is live at the Royal Theater in St. Petersburg with more on that story. Good evening, Allison.
Good evening. The Royal Theater behind me here is the site where 40 St. Pete kids will eventually add their voices to a song that was written just for those 2 St. Pete officers. And today, 15 kids crammed into a very small studio to add their part. For one of those kids, though, the music's message was more than just music.
Why can't we come together, kill the hate, love each other?
And I think the strongest vehicle that we have to send messages, whether positive or negative, is through music.
And this message is about heroes and healing.
Kill the hate, love each other.
Harmony in stark contrast with the sound of gunshots.
I was home that day because I was sick.
10-year-old Leah didn't just hear about the day 2 officers fell. She witnessed the chaos firsthand.
Because I live so close to it, 4 blocks away.
She wanted to sing today to face a question she started asking that morning.
If policemen are getting shot, who's going to be next?
Not an easy question for a 10-year-old or for any of these kids, some of whom live even closer.
But we wanted to take something that the kids can relate to, music, and put it to a song, something that offers healing.
Healing for the kids whose neighborhood still hasn't recovered, for the officers and their families, and for Leah, because this isn't her first battle with grief.
I lost my aunt, and she was really close to me.
She died of a heart attack, so unexpected. One day that changed everything, just like the day Leah's singing about right now. That song is called Why. It is released for the public at the end of this month. Live outside the Royal Theater in St. Petersburg, Allison Morrow, ABC Action News.